Hello all, so we're working on the daily today because the tensioner bearing is getting quite noisy, so I thought I'll give you a little quick how-to if you do own a Honda Jazz on how to change your belt and pulley. So the engine in this is a 1.4i DSI. I believe the 1.2 has the same layout, but I can't promise you on that. This is the pre-VTEC model. Now, the bearing in this pulley down here is gone, and it causes it to whir quite badly. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the best way of taking this off, which to my guess is going to be to jack up the car, take the wheel off, take the inner arch out and get at it from the side. I may need to go at it from the top. Now this specifically doesn't have a tensioner as such. It doesn't have like a sprung one. It's on the alternator. So the tension on the alternator is currently good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a paint pen and I'm going to use the paint pen to mark the threads where we are currently sat, because the belt tension is good on the serpentine belt and the drive belt. So from there I can mark out where it needs to be, and then I can loosen it off. So once the wheel's off, I'm going to prise off these two. I'm going to go and get something to soothe my fingers and then see about removing the clip from inside so that we can drop this lower panel. So after a bit of fettling, I managed to get the two clips off from there. There's a screw underneath and a clip around the back, and I've hooked it out of the way. Now, when I get down underneath, you can see that the belt itself is not in particularly good condition, so that needed changing anyway. And the location of the bearing that I'm changing is at the top here. We'll access that from the top. So it goes round the main crank pulley, comes through here, around the outside. This will be air conditioning. It's got a clutch on it. That'll then be power steering around here, alternator up top. So we just have to remember it goes outside, outside, inside, outside, inside. So a nice easy layout to remember. I'm probably going to take a photo of it just for reference. And then I can set about undoing the alternator tensioner belt that I was talking about. I can show you how to do that. So I can then take this bolt off. When I've got the belt off, I can then replace the tensioner pulley and, well, it's not a tensioner pulley, it's just an idler pulley. Change out that and then, yeah, fit the new one. So as said, I need to put a mark on this here so that I know where the threads are. I'll probably put a mark this way as well, a little bit like a torque mark, and then I'll set about loosening that off. And I think by the look of it, I have to loosen that bolt off as well, but we shall see when we get there. Crack this one off, which is not going to be too tight. Need enough so that it can slide around. Right, so now I can see the gap there, and a gap. Beforehand, I'm just going to quickly put that witness mark on, just there, and just there. That'll just help me to put it back where it started, although I will retest anyway. So yeah, there we go. Let's get a bar on it with a hammer and give it a little tap. Just there we go. So that should release a bunch of tension off. I'll now remove the pulley. Do it from on top, not from below. So this bit needs to be tapped out. Should be easy enough. There we go. That needs to be pressed into the back of the bearing. So that thing goes in there, like that. The new one's looking much nicer, better. Remember, this has another locator and a pin and a washer, and that all sits together like that. New bearing. Silence. Lovely. Fish out the old belt. It'll be quite fiddly. Alright, so new belt in. I'm sure there's an easier way of doing all this, but I'm trying to do it with the least number of steps. So by my reckoning, that's kind of not the easiest, but also the easiest, if you know what I mean. Easiest as in like the least number of things to do, but those individual things might be more difficult because of not removing certain things, but we shall see. Alright, belt is now on. Now we've got the fiddly bit. Putting this little bastie back, which is probably going to be an absolute pain in the butt. Right, so ball ache as that was, it's back on now. So I can look at retensioning everything, which is at least slightly less of a pain. Tying that one up, should be good to go. Cool. So that's back up tight, that's back up tight, pulley's in tight, that should be it. But now that the fan is up, as you can hear. So that's it then, guys. It wasn't the easiest job particularly because the chassis leg is in exactly the wrong place, so potentially it may be easier to actually go about removing the side engine mount and maybe the rear stabilizer, jacking the engine up to get it above the chassis leg, but realistically you can get in there. It's done. It was a little bit of a pain. Parts I think cost me about 55 quid, so I think it's like £37 for the pulley and about 20 odd pounds for the belt, which isn't ridiculous, but it's definitely not as cheap as I thought they might be, bearing in mind it is a Honda Jazz. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, regardless of if you are a Jazz owner. If you are a Jazz owner, there will be a few more bits doing, including relatively soon I'll be doing both the rear wheel bearings, so there'll be a how-to on that, because both of them are starting to go a little bit as well. Yeah, that's about it. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing, like, share it about, and let me know what you next want to see, whether it be on the Jazz, whether it be on Ben's Volvo, whether it be on the Laguna. Maybe you want me to start on the Audi with something. I'm quite itching to get started on that, but I'm trying to hold back and not do too much with it until at least the Laguna is most of the way there. But either way, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.